Hey guys, Bottle Productions CSD.2014 here, and welcome to my very first episode of my ambitious project. No, it's not the series with the puppet, but this is another project to review every episode of The Amazing World of Gumball ever. We're starting off with season 1 as usual. But first, let's start off by answering the question: how did I come to this? How and why are we doing this? Well, I've been thinking about Gumball for a long while. I've been having mixed bags about season 1. I felt good about seasons 2 through 5, and then I really hated season 6. And I want to let out all my emotions right now just because, and I just want to say how I felt about these episodes. So, let's begin in every episode of Gumball Season 1 review and dive right into the very first episode. Episode 1, the DVD. Gumball accidentally destroys a late DVD rental. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of Gumball, Darwin, Nicole, and Larry. These 4 characters would become reoccurring characters throughout the whole series. Anyways, my favorite part is Gumball getting punched in the arm from Darwin because it's kind of good to get his comeuppance for not allowing this to, suffer the consequences of his actions. He definitely deserved that. But is this a good episode that's as good as a DVD? Or is this episode as scummy and bad as a broken DVD? Actually, it's neither. It's not bad or meh. It's a good episode. Yeah, this episode's pretty good. It's pretty funny. I found it pretty good. The jokes were pretty good. And Nicole was just a really great mother. Not to mention that some of the jokes also land perfectly well. And the ending was pretty hilarious. So yeah, all in all, this is a very good episode. Episode 2, We're Responsible. Gumball and Darwin attempt to show their responsibility by babysitting Anais. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of Masami and Anais. The Anais part was not really needed, probably. Anyways, my favorite part is probably the pug scene because it's kind of funny about how Anais is being treated like a dog. It's just kind of funny. But now we have to wonder if this is a good episode or a bad episode. I'm not even going to say the punchline because it's a meh episode. Yeah, I thought long and hard about this one, guys. I wanted to enjoy it, but I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't find this as funny as the previous episode because especially with the fact that Gumball and Darwin are in middle school. They're not in elementary school, so I don't see how it makes sense for them to be dumb unless you showed like phones and all that kind of a thing and show them ignoring them in class during the next couple episodes. Then it would make sense. But however, with the fact that with the fact that they act like idiots here and do really stupid things that should not be dealt with, like about the fact that you should actually use fire extinguisher, or stupid jokes like I acting like a bird to get feed and I use food. It's just so stupid. But then again, the ending was pretty decent at best, and that joke really made it. In fact, if it wasn't for the joke in the ending, I probably would have called this a scumball episode. I know it's crazy that something is going really wrong already with the second episode, but it's how I feel. But it was very close to becoming a scumball episode. One way or the other, if it was a little bit more funny, or if Gumball and Darwin were a little bit more intelligent, one way or another, it probably would have made this is a really meh episode. Episode 3, the third. Gumball and Darwin try to find a third friend. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of Tobias. Speaking of which, I have a picture of a balloon because Alan also appears in here. So I guess I didn't put first appearance of Tobias and Alan. Crud. Anyways, my favorite part is the ending because of how nice Gumball and Darwin's friendship is. And by the way, if Cartoon Network does an anniversary of the series, then you should show clips like the ending of this episode, or what shows a big importance about what Gumball is and was. Now let's get to the real question. Is this a good episode that's as good as Alan, Was this episode as bad as Tobias trying to take Darwin away? It's actually a good episode. Yeah, the fact that Ellen's a balloon and the jokes that are done with Ellen and Gumball are pretty hilarious. And, especially with the fact that Tobias and Darwin put their butts on each other. Yeah, it's pretty weird, but, whatever. I don't think that really supposed to mean much. And also, and once again, the ending is so nice and charming. It's so nice and sweet. So, all in all, this is another good episode. Episode 4, The Depth. Gumball vows to save Mr. Robinson's life. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of the Robinsons. Anyways, they're both being Mr. Robinson and Mr. Robinson. Oh yeah, and also their son, Rocky. My favorite part is the song I Want to Be Free. I don't know, it just sounds so catchy and pretty nice and colorful, too. But is this a good episode? That could be as good as Gumball saving Robinson's life? Or is this episode as bad as Gumball hurting Mr. Robinson? It is a good episode. Yeah, this episode was pretty good. I found it pretty good. It was pretty funny at best. But the beginning was kind of weak and kind of slow, though. But the song was pretty good. Even for an original song that was made by Gumball and is not taken by someone else. So, that's definitely something good. The only other TV show that I know that does something like that would probably be, Phineas and Ferb. But anyways, like I was saying, this episode is pretty good. The Robinsons are pretty good. The characters are pretty good. Gumball and Darwin actually care for their brother in here. And they don't try to do mean stuff to him just because he's an idiot. And this time the jokes actually work well. Because, somebody that loves a neighbor too much would probably act like that. I know, I probably would. By accident, probably. So yeah, this is a pretty good episode. Episode 5, The End. Gumball and Darwin think that the world will end in 24 hours. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of Penny. Yeah, she's a recurring character. Oh yeah, also Banana Joe comes in here. I should have also put in that too. Anyways, my favorite part is 70% of everything. I believe from that, you can already tell that this is a good episode. Yeah, everything here is pretty funny. Richard doing stuff, doing these zany things and crazy things with Gumball and Darwin and at the Elmore shop. It was pretty good and pretty hilarious. Also, not to mention about the fact that they're all squished inside the bathroom stall and they all get stuck in there. And then also not to mention about the fact that, the fact that, one of the characters is a toast bread inside one of the scenes and then gets eaten by birds because he's made of bread, despite the fact that he's eating a sandwich. Wait. Anyways, it's a pretty good episode. Episode 6, The Dress. Darwin falls in love with who he thinks is a girl, but is actually Gumball. Fun fact, Masami's forehead looks like a mountain. Thinking about that now is pretty funny. My favorite part is Masami and herself saying for Gumball to sit there and look pretty. I found that pretty gut-bustingly hilarious. But if you guys are wondering why I have this tone, it's because this is a scumball episode. I'm sorry, but I really, really hate this episode. And most of this is all thanks to Darwin himself. He acts like a freaking pervert. Going out behind lockers, taking pictures, is whispering like a pervert. It's so this is just really horrifying and character damaging. Although and also not to mention about the fact that she only gets to be with if people just because they wear dresses. Also not to mention that Darwin thinks that Gumball himself, the brother that he's been with throughout almost all of his life, he thinks that he's a girl. That's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. So yeah, oh boy, this is definitely a bad episode. I really hate this episode. Also, not to mention that inside the roller coaster scene, that is just, it's so creepy. I'm sorry if people love this episode, but I just really hate Darwin. It just really ruins this episode. Heck, if it wasn't for Darwin, I probably would have called this episode meh. But still then, not to mention that there's some symbolism of Darwin being gay. But don't make any comments about it at all. No, do not make any comments about it or I'm going to kick you out. Anyways, so yeah, I really hate this episode. I hope I never have to see that episode again. If it is on Cartoon Network, I'd probably just run away and just be like, hell no. Because I really hate this episode. Episode 7, The Quest. Gumball and Darwin wants to get their sister's doll back. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of Daisy's doll, Daisy the donkey. Yeah, she's kind of a recurring character, kind of not, but usually would be plushy. My favorite part is the ending, because it's also very sweet and nice. Now, is this a good episode or a bad episode? I almost said no, but it's a good episode. Yeah, I was thinking about calling it a bad episode because of how rude all three of the Watterson kids are in this episode. But it's supposed to be coming back with the story, and the story works. Also, not to mention that the comedy during the third act and the second act worked pretty well. However, the comedy in the first act was not pretty good. So this is a pretty middle of the road good episode. Yeah, it's a usual good episode. Episode 8, The Spoon. Gumball and Darwin become unwitting accomplices in a stick-up. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of the fingerprint guy in the donut cup. Sorry, but I don't know the characters' names. If you guys know what the characters' names are, let me know in the comments below. Anyways, my favorite part is the spoon itself. I don't know, just the fact that he's holding the spoon as a weapon, people are scared. And those people that are inside the gift shop are scared of it, except for the donut cop. That's pretty hilarious. Now, is this a good episode or a bad episode? It's a good episode. Yeah, this is a good episode, but first I want to get out with some of my flaws with this episode. First of all is the fact that they use spoons to eat breakfast. And the fact that it's rusty, what's that supposed to mean? Is that supposed to mean to make fun about the fact that they would probably think that, that the fingerprint guy killed somebody with a spoon? With that, because of how rusty it is that itself is kind of stupid. Also, not to mention that the fact that he actually looks like a burglar and go on door and fall for him is pretty stupid and retarded. Also, and my other major flaw is the burglar guy and Nicole herself. When has Nicole ever gotten herself destroyed when she's a Super Saiyan mother? I'm like, you saw her with her anger fury inside of the DVD just a couple episodes ago, so it doesn't really make that much sense. But however, I can understand that because the story works, and the comedy is pretty decent at best, and it's pretty good. Like the syrup, the ketchup. I think I should have instead. Oh, my favorite joke inside this entire episode that I probably should have put in the highlight instead of the spoon itself is part of the fact that they, about the fact that Gumball Darwin tried hitting the fingerprint guy with a bunch of stuff, but it didn't work, and then he makes a comment about it, and then they hit him with, frozen salt, and then, he then gets angry about it. That's pretty funny for me, personally. And the ending's pretty good, too. It's pretty nice. So, yeah, this is a good episode. Episode 9, The Pressure. Gumball vows to help Darwin from getting kissed by Masami. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of Molly. Yeah. My favorite part of this is Banana Joe. The fact that he saw the tree house and just makes a laugh about it, I just find that kind of hilarious. Now, is this episode as good as Gumball finally getting a relationship with Penny, or is this episode as bad as Darwin falling in love with Masami? Now, before I answer that question, let me say right now, I haven't seen this episode in a very long time. I think this episode is barely seen by anybody, probably at all. Even if I was to see it, I would probably have to buy it on DVD or something like that, because I barely see this episode. Cartoon Network, what's wrong with this episode? Did Benbo Clay hate the episode or something? Not for me though, cause it's a good episode. Yeah, despite the fact that I don't see it as much as before, it still doesn't give away from the fact that it still is a good episode. The fact that Gumball gets distracted because he's in love with Penny, and that Darwin and has to be stuck with Masami inside the treehouse, it's pretty good. Not to mention that the boys are pretty stupid. Well, I can understand with Tobias because he was a pretty terrible character in the foot, so he probably deserves to react like an idiot in this episode. Not to mention that Banana Joe is really when he begins being funny, starting with this episode. Also, not to mention about the fact that the girls having a conversation with each other was good. One more thing, and we finally get to see the starting point of Gumball and Penny's relationship. Oh man, we'll get there to a better episode about the relationship. You'll see. Episode 10, The Painting. Principal Brown begins to meddle in their family life. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of Principal Brown and Mr. Small. If I got that wrong, then you let me know in the comments below. Anyways, my highlights Mr. Small because of his reactions to the painting and everything else when he was teaching Gumball and Darwin that stuff. Also, not to mention that Now, we have to talk about whether or not this is a good episode. See, here's the thing. The plot is so stupid and minimal, it makes just such barely any sense. Anais makes a picture of it, and Principal Brown gets confused by it. I'm like, come on, she's 4 years old. You obviously know that you won't be able to know what it's like. I'm like, come on. And the ending is kind of weird. Also, I don't understand why Nicole has a addicting point to smashing things inside the house after she's done cleaning it all. Yeah, I just find it kind of weird. But however, the comedy with Gumball Darwin and Mr. Small is good enough to call it a good episode. Yeah, if it wasn't for that, I probably would have called a meh episode. Or probably a pretty light scumball. But then again, the fact that the comedy is pretty decent and with them, it's still a good episode. Yeah, it's pretty much a good episode. In total, I'm just gonna say it's still a good. I'm gonna say it one more time. I promise. This is a good episode, at least. Episode 11, The Laziest. Oh boy, Gumball and Darwin do a lazy contest with Richard. Fun fact: Larry used to be lazy. Yeah, that's pretty much some character development right there. My favorite part is the gag of the summer of '83. I just find it pretty funny. Although I kind of wish that I could see it. Of all the episodes I've seen, none have made me be so angry at a main character ever since SpongeBob season 6 through 8. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, but this episode is definitely a terrible episode. Especially with the fact that, Richard is horrible inside this episode. And it's just really so mean. It's just so lazy. Just because he's lazy doesn't mean he has to be mean to his children about it. I'm like, just come on. I'm just gonna say right now, it is a scumball episode. I really hate Richard so much in this episode. Oh my gosh. I got to the point where I was groaning so I don't have to hear his stupid excuses. Not to mention about the fact that he frames them to make him look like that they was treating him like a slave. Seriously, this is the 2000s. This is not around the 1800s. This is not something that you should make fun about. Slavery is bad. And you'll get arrested and be in trouble for treating somebody like a slave with slavery. Not to mention that he treats the boys with slavery after he blames them and frames them. This is just so horrible, Richard. I really hate him. Not to mention about the fact that what Gumball and Darwin do to make be lazy is so horrifying and evil looking. Ugh. I can't even get further explain about how much I hate this episode. Let's just move on. Episode 12, The Ghost. Carrie possesses Gumball's body. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of Carrie. My favorite part is the flip-flop. I don't know, just the fact that she ate a flip-flop. I just find it kind of hilarious. Oh my goodness, this episode. Let me tell you, this episode is a fantastic episode. I love this episode so much. Everything works out pretty well. Unlike the previous episode where Richard was an evil douchebag, he actually tries to be nice to his son. Although it's not that good of advice, but still works to help his son. Not to mention that's pretty funny. Also, not to mention about the fact that everybody else's antics trying to help Gumball is pretty funny too as well. Although Anais is not appeared at all in this episode. Although I can understand that because Nicole is a providing mother. She's the mother figure to Gumball. Anais doesn't have to become their their parenting kind of a figure. It's usually Nicole. And Nicole sets a good example to her children. Not so much about the fact that the jokes with Carrie and Gumball are pretty funny, you know. Although a gag in this episode about Gumball being fat and Richard it's saying that he's fat, and then looking at him being fat, if he makes a comment about it, that comment kind of reminded me of an episode. But we'll get there. Oh man, we'll get there. But yeah, all in all, this is a fantastic episode. Episode 15, The Mystery. Elmore Jr. High tried to find out who put Brown inside Gumball's locker. Fun fact, this is the first appearance... Oh, wait, no. This is not first appearance. Oh my goodness. Anyways, fun fact, Miss Simeon is a dirtbag. Yeah, she now turns pretty evil. I'm like, yeah, you saw some hints of her being evil. I don't know, I just wanted to say that. Anyways, my favorite part is the fact that Alan has no hands. It kind of reminds me of that joke, of the jokes from the third where Gumball couldn't play with Alan inside Dodger Dare because about the fact that Alan does not have any hands and it's just a balloon with a string. But is this a good episode or a bad episode? I almost said no for this one as well, but it's a good episode. Yeah, I just find the fact that some of the things that happen inside this episode are pretty mean-spirited. Poor Gumball, I feel really bad for him and Principal Brown this episode. They go way too far for the chase scene. Okay, not the chase scenes, but the fact that Miss Seaman does that to her husband is just really character damaging in my personal opinion. That is, at least. Sure, in later seasons you see her get angry, but you know, you basically get what I mean. But however, the comedy with Gumball not believing these things and then Gumball making stupid impressions of Penny is kind of funny. Not to mention about the fact that Gumball or actor says "I love you" is pretty hilarious. Not to mention that Dom was so ignorant about the fact that he had toilet paper on his foot. That was probably gut-bustingly hilarious, probably. So yeah, all in all, it's a pretty, good episode. Episode 14, The Prank. Richard and Gumball and Darwin go on a prank war. This is an episode that has Richard becoming a psychopath. Since you already know that there's nothing that I put inside the highlight box, I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that you guys already know that this is a scumball episode. How about we talk about it right now? How about we talk about the viewings of the characters' perspectives alone? I'm going to give one viewing about Richard's perspective, and then one on Gumball and Darwin. But maybe with Gumball and Darwin, maybe I could change this up doing a special bonus episode, like a spin-off series called Gumbits, where I could re-review some episodes. Who knows? Let's do Richard first, though. He's terrible. He's truly terrible. He's at his worst inside this episode. He acts so evil. Terrible pranks, terrible jokes, terrible acting, if you even want to call it acting. Also, not to mention that the fact that I don't know what is wrong with him. It's like that he took drugs right before filming on this episode, or right before this day. Not to mention that he be mean to Gumball, but yet they can't be mean to him. He's such a damn crybaby. If he had a sensitive problem, then maybe I could accept that. But however, no, it doesn't happen. Not to mention, and that they makes Gumball and Darwin get scared because they think that he's trying to kill them. Literally, his faces, his slow makings, his stupid body faces. It's so stupid and just really horrifying, character damaging, and so bad. Seriously, this episode is abysmal with Richard. I don't know about you, but I don't ever want to see Richard as a main character inside the first season ever again. Same thing with other episodes. It's only when you actually talk about his family and also, with him doing something with that could be a simple plot like getting mail. It's only when I can accept that. But aside from those, I don't ever want to see Richard as a protagonist ever again. Obviously, I hate him in this episode. Now let's see how Gumball and Darwin's ideas of ever fought Richard dragging it along. Both of them trying to help Richard feel better is pretty decent at best, but however, they don't really try that much. It's pretty stupid, not to mention about the fact that the jokes that they do around here is pretty stupid. Not to mention that sometimes people use the scene where Gumball and wanted Darwin to kiss him as making memes of them, or fan art on the internet of them being gay. Seriously, guys, stop it. Gumball and Darwin are not gay. They just have a love and passion for each other. Basically, like special brothers. Like, I don't know what the word is, but you guys know exactly what I mean if you guys understand what I mean. Now, if this episode was a lot more funnier if Anais or Nicole was there, but maybe this episode would actually feel better, actually feel special, feel great and exciting and suspenseful, or to know exactly what Nicole and Anais would do inside a situation like this. But all in all it just shows is just the fact that Richard and Gumball is really evil, and Gumball and Darwin and just have their worst jokes in this episode. Oh yeah, and I also forgot to mention, this episode isn't funny. Yeah, this episode is not funny. This is why there's no highlight in the box. Not even the character design is something that I could care about. Almost none of the jokes are good. Oh, and one more thing. The fact that Richard cuts Gumball Darwin out of their family picture is so... I really hate Richard. If Richard ever came to my house, I would probably say, I hate you, and stab him with a knife, and then hit him with a bat. That's how much I really hate him. And I pray to Neptune and Poseidon and the mayor of Elmore, that's basically a parody of Donald Trump, that I never have to see this episode ever again. Episode 15, the G. I don't know what the word G means, so yeah. Anyways, Gumball and Darwin do karate. Yeah, the story is basically as simple to say as that. Fun fact, the same thing happened to Richard and Nicole with Gumball and Darwin, where they would be made fun of because of something, and then the girlfriend stood up for them. My favorite part is the one playing. I don't know, the fact that Gumball gets what he gets for being so stupid and ignorant and not doing karate because he just wants the cool outfit. I just find it kind of amusing. Don't ask why. Anyways, is this a good episode that could be as good as getting a black karate belt in karate class? Or is this as bad as being called the karate winner? Actually, not a karate winner. It's a good episode. Yeah, this episode's pretty good. Not to mention about the fact that Nicole and Penny stand up for Gumball and Darwin right before they do something stupid. Sure, they still do something stupid, but still, they still try to stand up for them. It's pretty nice, pretty good. It's a good episode. Episode 16, The Kiss. Granny Jojo kisses Gumball in the lips. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of Granny Jojo. Yeah, she's also a recurring character. By the way, look at that character design. You cannot tell me that character design looks really pathetic and really kind of uncomfortable. This is why the animation for season 1 is not that memorable. Anyways, my favorite part is the butterfly scene, mostly because I find it kind of fun about the butterfly makes a face, and then it says as a funny line, "Give Granny Jojo a kiss." Yeah, I just find that pretty funny and pretty gut-bustingly hilarious. And by that note, you can probably tell that this is a good episode. Although not all the jokes are pretty good, but the jokes that happen here are gut-bustingly hilarious. So, oh yeah, not to mention about the fact that Granny Jojo is kind of weird. Yeah, the only flaw with this episode is that I don't understand why... How can I put this? In this episode, I do not understand why Richard and Nicole are trying to quickly get away right before Granny Jojo is inside the house inside this episode. Sure, it makes sense inside later episodes, but not with this episode. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. But still, it's a good episode nonetheless. Episode 17, Elmore Jr. The Party. Elmore Jr. High goes on Rachel's party. Right on. Okay, I'm gonna stop that. That's pretty annoying. I just apologize about that. Fun fact, this is the first and only appearance of the character Rachel, which is Tobias' sister. The people that worked on Gumball really hated her, so they decided to go ahead and get rid of her and not have her appear in any more episodes at all. But however, she's my favorite character inside this whole episode. Oh, she's pretty good. I can understand and relate to these kind of things. She just doesn't want things to be ruined. I like her. I can understand if people don't like her, but that doesn't mean you have to get rid of a character like that if other people like her. But yeah, I'm like, hey, look at what they did with Angelica. They changed her out to the Rugrats movie, so it could have lived here. Anyways, oh boy, let me tell you about how much I love this good episode. I love this episode so much. You get further into Gumball Darwin's friendship and broship. Yeah, I call it broship. Now to mention about that, you get expand more with Gumball and Penny's relationship. You get funny jokes about Tina and giant people. Not to mention about the fact that Sussy comes over here. I probably should have put it as the first appearance of Rachel and Sussy. However, I didn't put that as the first and only appearance of Rachel. Oopsie poopsies. But you know what? Never mind. I really love this episode so much. The jokes are good. The story's good. This is a good episode. In fact, I probably would have put it inside my top 5 favorite Gumball episodes. This is a good episode. Episode 18, the refund. Gumball Darwin won a refund for a video game. Fun fact, Richard has a full beard in only this episode. Yeah, he has a tiny beard inside the Man-Off episode. But it wasn't full beard like this one. Not to mention that he had a mustache as well. But however, that doesn't mean that Richard is not a good character inside this episode. Oh, he still appears in this episode as probably like one of the main characters inside the episode, but he doesn't appear as a protagonist. He appears as like one of those antagonists, but except not really the villain of the episode. You know, that kind of. And with that, I believe you can already tell that I find this episode a good episode. Oh, not to mention about the fact that Larry, his boss, is kind of funny too, especially for the fact that it looks like a cute Care Bear Chinese knockoff ripoff, but it's cute but deadly at the same time. How pretty ironic and pretty hilarious.